Now on Broadway, An Enemy of the People is a New York Times critics pick. Jeremy Strong is one of the great actors of his generation, hails the Chicago Tribune. In a performance the Wall Street Journal praises as powerfully affecting and bitterly funny. Michael Imperioli sets off sparks, cheers the Hollywood Reporter. Victoria Pedretti is luminous, raves variety. From director Sam Gold and playwright Amy Herzog, An Enemy of the People is urgent, electrifying, and haunting, declares USA Today. An Enemy of the People, on Broadway through June 16th only.
In today's Smart 7, Rwanda Bill finally passes, accusations over pro-Palestine march video, and lots more. It's Tuesday, 23rd of April. It's World Book Day, and happy birthday, John Cena.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Downing Street sources have been leaking news of Rishi's big plan to regain ground over Labour in the run-up to the local elections. The Prime Minister is going to embark on a week of activity with new policies and bold decisions in a bid to turn the polling tide. Last Friday we saw him ripping up the nation's sick notes, and on Monday he was laying down the law on Rwanda. He said he's sick and tired of delays with the safety of Rwanda Bill and ordered it to be passed through the Commons on Monday evening, however long it took. And he says he's making a pledge that flights will take off soon.
The first flight will leave in 10 to 12 weeks. If Labour peers had not spent weeks holding up the bill in the House of Lords to try to block these flights altogether, we would have begun this process weeks ago.
The only problem is, of course, that there are more Tory peers than Labour peers, and it's been his own Tory peers who keep inflicting defeats on the legislation. But finally, after a phenomenal game of parliamentary ping-pong, shortly before midnight on Monday, the bill was passed by the House of Lords. Despite Rishi's best efforts, though, his arch-nemesis Suella Braverman says the bill is still not fit for purpose.
The Prime Minister has pledged to stop the boats. This bill, as drafted, will not achieve that goal. It's fatally flawed, it has too many loopholes, and that's why I voted against it.
Gideon Falter from the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism went viral this weekend after he published a carefully selected clip from a video shot at Saturday's pro-Palestinian protest march. The clip shows a Met police officer asking Gideon not to proceed any further as he is openly Jewish and his presence could cause an issue. However, longer clips of the footage demonstrate that it appears to be a deliberate attempt to cause controversy, and in fact Gideon and his charity have been campaigning against the marches and trying to get them shut down.
The legal threshold for banning these marches is if it causes serious disruption to the life of the community. If crossing the road means that you have to be threatened with arrest, how much worse can it get before Mark Rowley uses his powers?
His version of events has been challenged by Met Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley and London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Rowley praised the sergeant on duty for his professional conduct, and former Met Police Chief Superintendent Dal Babu says that having watched the full video, it's clear that there was an element of provocation.
The narrative that's being pushed is not accurate. With all of these stories, it's really, really important that we don't just accept things at face value. When the full footage was revealed, you have a very, very different account to what Mr. Falter originally said had happened.
Donald Trump was back in court on Monday for his election interference trial, which relates to hush money payments to adult actress Stormy Daniels. The jury has been sworn in, and Monday saw opening arguments from both the defence and the prosecution. The first witness to be called is the appropriately named David Pecker, who is the publisher of US magazine The National Enquirer and is accused of using a technique called catch and kill to hush up stories of Trump's bad behaviour. Outside the court on Monday, he was still giving out about the Attorney General in his fraud trial, partly because she's questioned how the $175 million bond in that case has been presented.
On the Letitia James case, she's the worst Attorney General in the country, by the way. And she keeps a lot of business out of New York, and businesses that are here are leaving. Somebody's going to step in, the governor, somebody has to step in and do something because your businesses are fleeing.
We've seen a never-ending stream of stories about sewage and river pollution recently, but new study suggests that the problem may be even worse than experts thought. Analysis of the River Thames, commissioned by environmentalist Steve Backshall, who lives by the river, found that there are high levels of potentially harmful bacteria in the water. The pollution has arisen from dumping of raw sewage into the river, and Thames Water says it regards all discharges as unacceptable and that it's working hard to improve the quality of the water. However, James Wallace from River Action did the test with a World Health Organization approved E. coli incubator, and the results were literally toxic.
I did some testing in a different part of the catchment, and it shows 2,963 E. coli coli colonies per 100 millilitres. And what that means is if I was to give this to Steve to say cheers, he might die. That's how bad it is.
Still to come on the Smart 7, John Terry enters the Hall of Fame and Kevin Bacon is still cool. Right after this.
Now on Broadway, An Enemy of the People is a New York Times Critics' Pick. Jeremy Strong is one of the great actors of his generation, hails the Chicago Tribune. In a performance the Wall Street Journal praises as powerfully affecting and bitterly funny. Michael Imperioli sets off sparks, cheers the Hollywood Reporter. Victoria Pedretti is luminous, raves variety. From director Sam Gold and playwright Amy Herzog, An Enemy of the People is urgent, electrifying, and haunting, declares USA Today. An Enemy of the People, on Broadway through June 16th only.
Welcome back.
Tuesday night sees league leaders Arsenal face off against Chelsea. It's a game that Arsenal need to win, but it's hard to tell which Chelsea side will turn up. They got knocked out of the FA Cup by Man City last weekend, but they also beat Everton 6-0 last Monday. Back in the glory days of Chelsea under Jose Mourinho, things were a bit more consistent, and it's fitting that Monday saw former Chelsea captain John Terry inaugurated into the Premier League Hall of Fame. He got a message from old boss Jose too that brought a little tear to the hard man's eye.
Premier League Hall of Fame, John Terry. Has to be. And now it is.
Wow. That's quite emotional. I think I owe him a huge amount for my career and the kind of direction it went in. He still frightens me to death. I've just got so much respect for him of what he'd done for me. And Chelsea. Chelsea means everything to me, so yeah, very emotional.
Kevin Bacon has been an icon for quite some time now. Long before he sold us phones on TV, he was incredibly cool in the 1984 movie Footloose. It spawned a killer soundtrack and plenty of magical moments, and it's only a matter of time before somebody reboots it with Conor McGregor in the lead role. In the meantime, Kevin took a trip down memory lane this weekend as he headed back to the high school where the movie was filmed for a 40-year reunion. He received a rapturous reception from the students of Payson School in Utah, including a moment that just made him feel old.
A young woman said to me, "You know, my grandfather was in school here when you were doing the movie. Your grandfather, if going for the 40th anniversary wasn't enough." I was like, wow, okay. Check yourself, buddy.
Deadpool is back, which is hardly surprising for a hero who has regenerative powers, but this time he's brought Wolverine with him. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are back in costume for the third Deadpool movie, and the one which officially brings Deadpool into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's called Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's packed full of guest stars, including Emma Corrin, Marina Baccarin, and Succession's Matthew McFadden. It's set to hit cinemas in July.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero. You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now. Let's go. Let's go.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Now on Broadway, An Enemy of the People is a New York Times Critics' Pick. Jeremy Strong is one of the great actors of his generation, hails the Chicago Tribune. In a performance the Wall Street Journal praises as powerfully affecting and bitterly funny. Michael Imperioli sets off sparks, cheers the Hollywood Reporter. Victoria Pedretti is luminous, raves variety. From director Sam Gold and playwright Amy Herzog, An Enemy of the People is urgent, electrifying, and haunting, declares USA Today. An Enemy of the People, on Broadway through June 16th only.